Alrighty, we're going to come from this outlet right here to go through to the other side of the wall. And what we're going to do is put a wall light up in the bathroom, so when I go to the bathroom, if I don't want the fan on, the fan doesn't have to be on. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to go through the wall and go into an old workbox and change to wire mold, and we'll go up and put our light in. So we got to take the cover off our box here. You'll see a knockout in the back of this box, so I'll pop that open. So we'll pop this knockout on the back open here. Just pops out like that. And you have choices of connectors you can use to put your Romex in. And we're going to use this little plastic one because when you put it through, it doesn't stick out that much on the inside of the box. You can see how little that sticks out. So we will put it in the back like this. And it just snaps in like that. Okay, now I'm going to cut my hole to go through the back of the box here. And we're going to put our wire through here and just make sure that there's enough room I can go over on the other side. So I'm going to fish this through over here just to see, make sure there's enough room. I can go over this way enough so I can get the switch over away from the mirror. Well, I can't really feel with that piece there. I use a smaller piece of wire. And guess what? There's a stud right there. So I'm going to poke a little hole through here and see where I come out on the other side. I think I'm through. Okay, so we'll drill a hole behind here. And we'll see where we come out. Okay, so we're over on this side. This is behind the vanity here, so I'll go down. My beam is right over here. So we have a stud right here, and the back of our outlet is over here. So we're going to drill with our drill through our stud and get in about the middle here. Okay, we drilled through our 2x4 there. So we're going to put our switch over here on this side of the stud. So we're going to use our old work box. We're going to trace it on the wall here. Like that. And we'll go like this. Like that. And we'll use our keyhole saw. And a wire piece of sheetrock falls in the wall. So this is going to be our piece of 12-2 to go from our outlet to our switch. So we'll come over here, bring our wire over here where our switch is. Okay, so I'm going to bring our wire over here. It's going to go into our outlet here. So here in the country I was born in, we use 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps, 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps for your branch circuits, and this is number 12, because we're on a 20 amp circuit. So I'm going to cut our wire here, wire up our switch. This is an older box. It's a used one that we took off from another job we didn't need it for. So we're going to get our tabs opened up here. When I tighten these screws, it opens these tabs up on the inside like that, and that's what holds it in the wall. Okay, so push this up into the wall like this. Put our little tabs in. Tighten it up. So now we're ready to run our wire mold up and go over to where our light is going to be. Okay, so we're going to put our wall plate on here. And with metal boxes, you have to use a green screw and bind the ground to the box. So if this fits, we're going to ground it, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. But if it's going to fit, it's going to fit. That's what I want. Good, it's going to fit. So we'll put our ground wire around this green screw here. And this is our right angle piece that's going to go up to our light. This will go onto our piece of wire mold like this here. Okay, this is a factory edge. There's no sharp edges there. Okay, we're going to use our flathead screwdriver. We're just going to make sure there's no flat edge, sharp edges in here. Okay, so this will go into our box like this here. Usually you push it down all the way to get up here nice and our 2x4 is up here. But you know what, if I come over further, I might get lucky and hit the stud. So you know what, I'll put it over here a minute. No, I can't because I have a knockout is open up here. So just put it in the middle on here, like. And we'll just hope we hit a stud up there on the top. Okay, so we're going to get a wall anchor in here. These are the wall anchors we're going to be using. Just let it lay, just let it lay. Now I'll finish it by hand so I don't break it out. So we'll take our other piece here, we cut with a hatch saw. Make sure all our sharp little burrs are out. Make sure we get it into a slot here. Push it in like that. Make sure it's nice and straight. Now this is the back plate for our light fixture. We'll go over here like this. Holes. Straight. Here. Open. Here. Open. Here. Now we'll put our plate back up here. Go. Now I'll finish tightening these by hand so we don't strip our holes out. Nice and tight. We are lucky to have a beam right in here, so we're going to put a wire mold strap here. Okay, so now we're ready to start fishing our wire through. We'll take our wire out of the Romex jacket here. Okay, so cross into our fixture here. So I give enough wire to now I'll go down to our switch. Okay, make sure our wire is in our channel here so we don't pinch it when we snap our thing on. I'm just going to push these over so they're centered here and centered here. Now we can pop our cover on here. So we got to break open a knockout on our wire mold box here. And we'll put our so we have to ground to our box and into our device. So go down the screen screw here, bring it down. Okay, here's our ground, our black and our white. Put our box up here like this. Make sure we're in our track all the way around here. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, so now we're ready to put our bracket on here to screw our fixture to. Make sure I get it centered so the light is nicely centered on the wall here. And the screw is nice and short so we don't have to worry about it hitting the wires. So we'll bring our ground wire up. So we'll go around the green screw here. And we'll close it around the screw. Watching our screw turns like that. We'll just tighten it up. So we'll put our wires here. Strip our black and our white. Use our number 12 hole. We have our ground wire here. So we have our factory tails on our white or our light fixture here for our two white wires. take them apart because they're uneven. Get them nice and even here. The same with our two. We're going to get our third white wire in here. Wrap it in so it's all even. And we'll do the same with our black wires. Okay, these two are even. We'll twist them together. We'll get our third one in here, twist it so it's all even. We're going to put a nice new tail on this wire here so it's all nice and together, nice and tight. I'm going to strip it nice and long. And then I'm going to get our insulation even at the bottom here like this. Wrap our strands around all our strands down through here. Get them all nice and together here like that. Take our wire nut. Twist it on, make sure insulation is going up into the bottom of that wire nut the way we want it. And we'll do the same with our blacks. And here in the country I was born in, blue is also considered a live color. So I'm going to strip it nice and long here so we get it wrapped around all three of our wires. So I'll get our insulation even up at the top like that. Wrap our strands around these here. Get it all nice and even like that. Take our wire nut, make sure insulation is going up into the bottom of the wire nut. Make sure it's nice and tight. And I'll strip some insulation off of our white and our blue. So I'll wrap our ground wire around the solid ground wire here. Take one yellow wire nut. Make sure our copper is even at the end, and I'll take it and just twist it in here. We'll take our white wire and we'll bring it up here. We'll get our insulation even at the end like this. Bring our strands down like that. Wrap our strands around the solid wire like that. Make sure they're even on the end like that. Take our wire nut. We'll do the same with our black wire. Get our insulation even at the bottom. Bring our strands down. We'll wrap them around the solid wire like this. Get our conductors even at the end and our insulation even at the bottom. Take our wire nut. Make sure insulation goes up near the bottom of the wire nut. Okay, now we're ready to put our fixture on the box. So what we got to do is fold our wires into our box. We're just getting all up inside the box here like this. Okay, then we'll put our wire nuts up in there like this. And go inside the box there. Everything right up here out of our way. And set our fixture on here like this. Make sure no wires are pinched. We just put our little knobby thing on here. Okay, now we're ready to go get our globes and put them on here. Okay, we'll put our globes on like this. You gotta be careful with these rings. You don't cross thread them, because once you cross thread them, it's hard to get them off. Make sure this is tight. Straight, so now we're ready to hop down and do our light switch. Okay, now we're ready to wire our switch box, so we got to okay, we'll tighten down our green screw here we put in, because you do have to bond to your box and to your device. Push that back in there out of our way. We'll get our ground wires together here, plus a tail to go to the switch. Perfectly even on the end, so that doesn't happen very often. So we'll put our wire nut on here, because you have to either put a wire nut or a crimp sleeve on your ground wires. We'll tighten our screws that hold this in the box. Okay, now we'll put our, get our white wires together here. Where my wire strippers go. Well, you know what? I'm not frustrated. I'm not going to carry on. this and moan, I'm just going to cheat and just do it this way. Now you can just score your wire carefully like this. Just very carefully score the insulation. Pull it off. It doesn't pay to get frustrated and upset. No, it doesn't. There's absolutely nothing. Okay, so we'll get our insulation even at the bottom like this here. Twist them together like that. If I don't find them, I'm just going to buy another one. I'm not going to get carrying on about this. It's not going to help one bit. So I got them twisted evenly. Our insulation is going into the bottom of the wire nut. If I find them, good. If I don't care. Okay, so now we can fold our white wires back into our box. Put our ground wires back into our box here. Okay, now we're ready to hook our light switch up. It would be very nice if I had my wire strippers, but if they're not here, they're not here. So we'll put our box on here. Now these walls are going to be painted afterwards. Okay, we're in our track, we're in our track, we're in our track, we're in our track over here. So first we'll take our ground wire, we'll loop it the direction our screw turns, and we'll put it around the green screw here. Close the loop the direction our screw turns. Tighten it up like that. Strip our black. Again, we're going to be very, very careful scoring our wire. You don't want to damage the copper. Okay, we'll fold our now this screw we're going to have to shorten it because we don't want to hit the wires. See how that's going to hit the wires coming in through the wire mold? Okay, so you always switch the live wire, which is black, or it could be red or blue. Make sure it's nice and tight. Strip that one a little long, so I'll just come back a little bit. Make sure it's tight like that. One, two. Now we can fold our wires into our box. So we go up and down. Make sure we don't have any force anywhere. Now we're going to shorten this screw here so we don't hit the wires in the back, so we'll just cut them in our covers here. Nice and short so we don't hit our wires. Nice and straight. Make sure nothing's pinched and we're all good. Okay, so we'll finish off. We'll put our cover on our light switch here. As well, the wire mold's all going to be painted. So. Okay, now we're ready to go in the other room and hook it up to our power. Okay, so we're in the room where our power is coming in. So we're going to push our wire through our plastic Romex connector here. Get back into our wall here. Push this back in under the tongue here. There we go. Make sure it's snug. Snug. We gotta put our bonding ground screw back in here. I wish I could take this down and get off that way here. This is a nice decorative light. It's probably from the turn of the century. So I'll clip our ground wire about right here. I'll bring it over here. Bring this one down to about here. Clip that here. I'll put a new ground wire on our outlet here. Okay, we're going to strip okay, so we'll get our grounds together here. Get our first two started. Bring our third one in. Okay, I'll clip them so they're even here. I'm going to use a crimp sleeve if I can find my crimpers, but if I can't, I can't. Just let it lay. Just let all that stuff lay. Okay, so this is a crimper and a crimp sleeve. You put it in the crimper like this here, and we'll slide it over all of our wires here. Make sure our copper is all sticking out through the end here, and we'll just squeeze it down nice and tight. Okay, and we'll push it down so it's out of our way and it's in the back of the box here. We'll bring our ground wire over here. So we'll get our white and our ground hooked up on the outlet here. Close the loop the direction the screw turns. Make sure it's nice and tight. We'll put our white on the silver screw. Here in the country I was born in, your outlets are polarized. Your black wire goes on the brass colored screw, which is the narrow slot, and your white wire goes on the silver screw, which is the wider slot. So I'll take off about 1 inch. Sometimes a Phillips screwdriver works, sometimes it doesn't. Well, fortunately that time it did. Okay, so we'll fold our ground wire to stay down at the bottom here. I'll go up and down with our white. Now we'll come over here and we'll get our black wire to come up. We'll come down and we'll go on our brass colored screw. Tight. Over here, I'll make sure our white one is tight. Okay, so now we'll put our box back on here. I'm going to take all these plaster ears off to make it easier to put in the box. Well, you know, if you can't, you can't. You don't get frustrated, you don't get upset. Just accept the fact you can't do it, that's all. It doesn't go, it doesn't go. Same with that one. I'm going to try to score it here a little bit better. Maybe that might make it come off easier. But if I can't, I can't. I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to carry on. Well, that one came off. So maybe it'll work on the top if I do it on the top. We'll just make it easier to put in the box. There it is. So we'll try to go down with this black. And then come up. Okay, so now we're ready to put this back in. Thank you, Lord, for letting me get that on there upside down and having to take it off again. Okay, now we'll put our box back on here. I want to make sure we're going in our track here. The screw moved a little bit, so I'm going to see if yep, that one's moving a little bit, so I'm going to take it out. I'm going to put a thicker one in here. The top one didn't turn, so this screw is a little thicker, so I'll grab the in there a little bit tighter. I feel it turning harder, tightening up a little bit better. There, that tightened up. So now we can put our device back into our box here. We'll push our ground wire down. I'm going to get my flashlight. I'm just going to make sure screws aren't going to hit the wires. Everything looks cleared. I'll center our outlet on the box here. One, two. I'll just look and make sure wires aren't hitting on any sharp edges or screws aren't hitting anything. So we are all good to go. I'll just check our ground wire, make sure it's down away from everything, which it is, and we just stick our cover back on here. Alrighty, I'm ready to put the light bulbs in. These are LED, energy saving, energy efficient. Maintenance is less because they don't go bad so often, so we'll screw them in. Turn this light off. And we'll turn this light on. Peace. Thanks for watching.